Hey, everyone.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I think we're going to just jump right in since we started a couple of minutes late. Okay. Welcome to our webinar with ZAKA and Jobs for Lebanon. First of all, I'd like to start by asking everyone to send any questions you might have in the chat so that we can make sure to tackle them during the last 10 minutes of our call today. The call is, the session is going to last, it's an informative one that's going to last about 30 minutes. And today we're going to be focusing on informing really companies on how to access AI talent, artificial intelligence. With Christophe, we are going to do a deep dive into getting a better idea of what AI is, and also understanding a bit more what the different industries, getting an idea of the different industries that could benefit from artificial intelligence. And of course, we'll be focusing on the advantages that employers get from hiring specifically the candidates that have gone through this program. So let's begin. Christophe, we'll start with you. We'll start with an intro. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about ZAKA, what it is, why you started it, and then we can start from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Neil. So basically, my background is in software engineering. I've been working in the tech sector for more than 12 years. And I've been focusing on AI and machine learning for the last 8 years. Initially, I was working in the field as an AI engineer. I was working on different projects and with different companies. But I've noticed that looking at the region here, you can see the mismatch or kind of the lack of adoption when it comes to artificial intelligence. And so there weren't a lot of activities and a lot of companies that are working with AI. And I wanted to change that. So I initially founded a community called Beirut AI to kind of promote artificial intelligence in Lebanon and to get more people aware and implementing artificial intelligence. And we organized different meetups, workshops, different types of events. And it was throughout the community work that I realized that people don't really understand what AI is. And this is why you don't see a lot of adoption. You don't see companies working or implementing AI. And also you don't see qualified talent in the field. And so the idea of ZAKA came through those community work. And so I also had my co-founders were also part of Beirut AI community. And together we decided that this mission is really important and we should dedicate our full-time effort on pushing that. And so this is how ZAKA was born. And so in a nutshell, ZAKA is an AI education company that's focusing on pushing AI in the region through education and consultancy. And the main focus is on education. So we provide different programs to help individuals get the technical skills and the practical skills needed to work in AI. And we also help companies understand how to implement AI in their businesses. This is in a nutshell.
Awesome. Thank you, Christophe. That's a great intro. I always love to hear about how ideas are generated. And it's always interesting to see how they always come from, I want to say, a problem that's detected, because that's always when they're the most productive, the ideas that come about. Tell us then, what is AI all about? Because I'm sure there's a lot of misconceptions around. Tell us about the different industries that use it. What does it look like for companies that want to benefit, or that are benefiting from AI nowadays and would like to in the future, in the near future?
Yeah, I feel this is very important because AI is a big term. It's an umbrella term that has a lot of different meanings. And so whenever we're talking about AI, I always make sure to start by defining what I mean when I say AI. And so everyone here should align on the definition of AI, right? People, when they hear the words artificial intelligence, most of them think of robotics. That's the first thing that comes to their mind, like a robot, a humanoid, looks like humans. Sometimes they're evil, whatever. And this is not an accurate description, right? AI is not just robotics. AI can mean deep learning, it can mean machine learning, it can mean data science, it can mean a lot of different things. And the majority of those that I just mentioned are not hardware, they're actually software, they're algorithms. And so when we say AI, we're mostly talking about these smart algorithms that allow machines to perform tasks that are kind of reserved for humans or for intelligent beings. And so I'll give an example. Anyone who works with coding, who's a programmer or coding, knows that we can practically write a software, right, an algorithm that tells a computer how to perform a certain task by following step-by-step instructions. So do this and then do that and then execute this, whatever. So of course it can be a bit complicated, but this approach is limited in what it can do because there are tasks that are not easily kind of reproduced in step-by-step instructions, right? For example, how can I tell a program to look at an image and identify if this is a cat or a dog in the image, right? How can I do it? It's not very clear because there is no like one way that cats look like, right? You have different shapes, different colors, different textures, different shapes. So cats come in different forms, right? So this is one simple example. And there's a lot of other examples like this. And so whenever we have these kind of tasks that cannot be produced by a simple algorithm, we go with what we call AI, which are machine learning algorithms. And the simple way to understand how they work is by looking at data. So instead of me trying to tell the computer how to look at an image of a cat and identify a cat, instead I can just show the algorithm hundreds and millions of images of cats, and I can tell it, this is what a cat looks like, right? This is a cat, this is a dog. And you figure out what the pattern is. You figure out what you need to look for to identify a cat or a dog or whatever. And this is just one example, which is image classification. But the same thing applies to other tasks, right? And so we call them smart algorithms because they do not take instructions as input, as typical algorithms. They take data as input. So they look at data, they find a pattern in that data, and they use this pattern to either make a prediction or to perform a task or do something else. And that's why AI has been called software 2.0, right? So it's the next version of programming. And so I'd like to go back to your second question, which is, what are the industries that can benefit from AI and which type of companies can use AI? So surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, it's not specific to a specific industry or specific type of companies, right? Any company, any sector can and is currently using AI, for different applications. And so you can think of AI just like coding, right? So just like you can build a website to do anything, or you can build different softwares, right? The same thing applies in AI, and we see it applied on different sectors like banking, finance, agriculture, education, healthcare, whatever. It's not just a technology-based application. And so any company that has data, that is somehow collecting data and wants to make decisions based on this data, or wants to leverage this data for to improve the product or to improve its efficiency, can use AI internally, right? So I'm not giving examples because it's really a broad spectrum, right? So it's not really specified to a small use case.
Yeah, but how about giving a concrete example of, you can either go with, let's say, an example of what type of company could use image classification, or you could give us an example of an industry that is very unlikely that we think would potentially benefit from AI.
Yeah, okay, sure. I can give examples. So for example, let's say you have a platform like a social network or some kind of platform where users are posting content, right? User can post messages or share images or something. And of course, you'd like, let's say, this platform to be free of any, let's say, pornography or any malicious content or anything that you don't want to show. So instead of having a person look at every single post that is posted or every single image, you can build an AI model that looks at every image uploaded and identifies, is this an image, let's say a safe image or one of those not safe for work images, for example. So this is an easy way to implement this feature. It's literally one feature. It's one, it's not we're not reinventing the wheel, but this is AI, right? This is a machine learning model that looks at images and classifies them safe, not safe, or something like that. Yeah.
You mentioned agriculture. I'm curious to hear a bit more about how agriculture could use artificial intelligence, just briefly.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of applications. So I'm going to give quickly 2 applications, right? One of them involves robotics. So I've seen a lot of companies that build robots, and these robots, they do a range of things, right? So one of them is called precision agriculture, where let's say right now the farmer sprays pesticides across the whole crop. So they just spray equally, right? But in fact, every plant might need different amount or different things based on specifically what's happening in that plant. And so precision agriculture is having, let's say, a robot that can go over the crops, identify using computer vision each specific plant, and then looking at the plant and checking, for example, some parameters that can decide, okay, this plant needs that amount of water, that amount of herbicide, that amount of whatever, and giving it exactly what it needs, and giving a customized solution or customized behavior, let's say, for every plant. And this is one example. Another example that AI is used in agriculture is through sensors. You can install what we call IoT sensors, Internet of Things, that detect the temperature, humidity, again, lots of other things, which I'm not really an expert in agriculture. But what you can do is you can use the data to predict, for example, when you might need to water the plants, the crops, when you might need to, I don't know, like using historical data to predict future behaviors, which allows farmers to, save on products, on time, lots of things.
Yeah. I bet you can talk about this forever, and a lot of follow-up questions are coming to my mind, but for the sake of time, let's dive into this collaboration actually and discuss specifically what Jobs for Lebanon and ZAKA are doing together, and how what the candidates of this program are doing, and how they can how they're going to be beneficial to employers who might be looking to hire them. So yeah, we've entered into this collaboration together this past year. And the idea of Jobs for Lebanon and ZAKA, as you know, Jobs for Lebanon is a nonprofit that is looking to become the go-to platform for every Lebanese talent looking for economic opportunities. So we work on cultivating an ecosystem, on sourcing opportunities, and on empowering talent. And it's that specific pillar, empowering talent, that we are collaborating on. Aims at putting, I think, 33 applicants through the job placement. So we're offering job placement support from the machine learning certification program that you run, right? Yeah. So do you want to give a bit more details about what employers can hope to get out of these candidates? A bit about the benefits, what they can expect, what not to expect?
Definitely, yes. So as Neal was mentioning, one of our programs is called the Machine Learning Certification. And this is our kind of flagship program at the moment. And the point of that program is to prepare talent for the job market. And so it's to graduate what we call market-ready AI engineers or ML engineers. And so during that program, it's a 16-week intensive training where we take people who have zero knowledge in AI, but of course they need to know programming and the basics of math. And we teach them everything they need to know from a market perspective. So we focus on the practical skills, we focus on the frameworks and the tools that they use. And we cover many aspects, which I'm not going to go into right now because we don't have time, but you can take it from the foundations all the way to deploying in production, right? So how do you take your model and deploy it and scale it and whatever? And this is on the technical side. In addition, we also have a soft skills track because we really care that those graduates are not just technically strong or capable, but also have the soft skills required for the job market. And so we help them build their CVs, their profiles, communication. We help them with mock interviews, and we really make sure that they're ready for the job market. And so from a company's perspective, we all know that AI talent, there's a global shortage of AI talent, and let alone in the MENA region as well. And so what you will get from our graduates are people who might be juniors when it comes to AI, but they've had practical experience for the last 16 weeks building things. So it's not like they've never built anything. They have every week they have to build a small project, and to graduate they have a capstone project which is a 3 to 4 weeks focused on building a project. And so this practical experience gets them, having the practical skills so they can start implementing projects when you hire them. They're not seniors, obviously, so you don't hire them to lead a team, but you hire them to execute and to start building ML projects internally, within your company.
Awesome, thanks for that. So we have 12 minutes left on the clock. I'll take advantage of the time to ask a little bit more. Well, actually, let me add a bit more on what they kind of go through with Jobs for Lebanon. So obviously, ZAKA is handling the technical side, the technical skills training, and then with Jobs for Lebanon and the talent empowerment, the candidate empowerment bit, we also assist them through the entire, I would say, job application process. And so, and Jobs for Lebanon's role, of course, in all of this is also sourcing the opportunities for these talents. And so they do go through soft skills training as well, so that they can prep themselves for the interviews. And they do a bit of communications trainings, just like being really career ready. So that's kind of what they get out of all of this. I see that a question came up in the chat. Let me just pull that up.
Yeah, I think I answered regarding the requirements.
Yes. Background in programming, knowledge, and maths. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks.
But I also want to add one thing, Neal, regarding the capstone project. So that I've mentioned. Towards the end of the program, the last 4 weeks are focused on building a capstone project. And the cool thing about those projects is that most of the time they're sourced from our partner network of companies. So we do work with companies who propose capstone projects for the students, which gives them a real world experience working on real data and actual problems. And this helps them kind of do like an internship, with the company building actual solutions. And it helps also the companies assess the quality of the candidates and hopefully hire them after graduation if they're interested in hiring.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that you're mentioning that, because when we do look at the hiring challenges that employers could be faced with, that's definitely something, right? Specifically with roles that are more technical than others, that hands-on experience that they get through the program definitely gives them an advantage over other candidates, right?
Exactly. I mean, we've heard this from many companies that whenever they hired someone, let's say graduated from university and who have covered AI, they have strong background in the theory, but when it comes to applying, it takes them a long time, like which tools to use and frameworks, and they feel like stuck. Whereas our graduates can just, start running immediately after, start working.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Since we have a bit more time and I don't see that any other questions are coming in, and we will just, look at them if they do. Can you do a little bit of a deeper dive into maybe, we did talk about the industries that or the companies, the types of companies that can benefit from these candidates. What industries aren't likely? I know we discussed agriculture, but I guess my question is, how do you kind of educate companies on the benefits of implementing AI in their companies? And I know that it makes sense to say, automation improves productivity, but what's the effort that's done to educate, let's say, through your community?
So we host regularly webinars within the community to kind of raise awareness and promote AI. Most of those webinars are kind of targeted towards individuals, not companies. But luckily, AI is a trendy word and it's a hot topic. And most companies always think like, okay, what can I do with AI within the company? So we do get a lot of those requests, companies reaching out and saying, I'm into X, whatever, and I would like to use AI. What can I do? And for those companies, we do have, let's say, a call with them to kind of understand what's their business, what do they do, what do they look for in their product roadmap. So what kind of features they would like to introduce. And because it's important to know that AI is not a solution. AI, it's a tool, right? People think that I want to add AI to my product, but they don't know how. Sometimes they have a problem, not even a product. They have a problem and they say, okay, I'll use AI to fix that problem. But it's not the case. AI is not a solution. It's a tool that you have to understand how to use to solve your problem or to improve your product. And so this is what we help them with, identifying the where in their product or in their business can AI be leveraged, and helping them put a roadmap of steps of what to do to approach that. And just to add one thing, most of the time, it always starts with data. And so if they're not even thinking about data, I always tell them, start implementing a data strategy, start thinking of how and where and what you need to do to collect data, to store data, because without this, you have no AI, right? It's all based on data. And so you need to have this to even think about the algorithms.
Yeah, I think with what you just said, you answered the last question we received, but I'm going to ask it anyway to see if you want to add anything. What does ZAKA offer other than education related to AI? Does it offer solutions for companies, or I guess you meant tools for companies?
Yeah, we don't have solutions or products to sell to companies. We only do education and consultancy. So we build talent, and we help companies implement or figure out how to implement AI in their businesses. And I think we have a question from Anas regarding the NLP track. And so we do have, it's not a track, but we have 2 weeks of this program focused on what we call advanced data types. So we do cover how to apply deep learning on images, which is computer vision, how to apply it on text, which is NLP. And so it is covered, but it's not a whole track.
Awesome. Okay, someone also asked something. Can I have a briefing about consultancy services?
Yeah, I mean, if you'd like, just reach out. I'll send you my email in the chat, and we can discuss that in more detail. But again, as I said, roughly, we understand your business, your product, and where you want to go with that, and we see where can AI be plugged in, let's say, and what you can do with these technologies. And this is my email in the chat.
Thank you, Sirine. Yeah. Awesome. We have 5 minutes left. Does anyone else have any other questions, or is there anything else that would like to be discussed? Maybe talk about the duration of the program, Christophe. We didn't get into this program and how long it lasts. I know we talked about a capstone project, but maybe walk us through a bit of the program, because it was interesting when you discussed the things that they touch on just now.
Definitely. So the whole duration is 16 weeks. We start with the foundations. So the first week is data science foundation, and then machine learning foundations. And then we go to deeper of how to build and evaluate models. Then we have a break week where they get to catch up on content and also have some soft skill sessions. And then we dive into machine learning, deep learning and neural networks. We dive into advanced data types, like I said, computer vision, natural language processing, time series analysis, recommender systems. And then we have these are 2 weeks, by the way, and then 2 weeks focused on machine learning in production, which is very important because this is where actually they kind of go out of the lab environment and start working in real environments. So deployment, monitoring, tools, integration, all of those things. Then we also have another break week. And then week 12 is the research and hot topics week, where we bring in speakers working on cutting edge, because AI is a field that's growing and that's being, every day we have new things coming up. And so it's important to teach the participants how they can keep up with the advancement in the field. And this is why this research week is important, because we bring in experts, people who are working in that field, to share their experience, to share what they're working on. Then we have 3 weeks of capstone projects, which is also worked with companies. And finally, we have the career fair, where we kind of connect the companies with the graduates, and they get to pitch their presentation, their project, and engage with the recruiters.
And then this recent step as well, of course, with Jobs for Lebanon, we take on the candidates, put them through an onboarding session with Jobs for Lebanon, where they get their profiles on our platform. And then this is where Jobs for Lebanon does the effort in, sourcing the opportunities for these candidates to start applying through, and we support them throughout. We have a few more questions that came in. One from Ali asking, do you have an internship program?
I'm sorry, we don't have an internship program at the moment.
Yeah, and then Anas asking, I hope I said your name right, can I get references of ZAKA graduates for my company, or leave my company contact for graduates who are interested in applying? Definitely. You can, what we can do is we can share our email, and if you can, you can share your email with us, and then we'll definitely reach out to you we'll collaborate together to reach out to you on that. And then Carla is asking, can we know more about the steps, application, investment stages after the training, etc.?
I'm not sure I understand your question, Carla. A bit, the steps to join the program, you mean? Or yeah, so the program, we have two steps in the application process. First of all, you apply, you fill the form. We reach out, we have a small like an interview with you to understand your goals and if this is the right program for you. And then after that, you have a technical assessment, which we send. It's a small assessment to kind of understand your level of programming and your understanding of math. And then if you pass the assessment, you're good to go. You can join the program. After the training, I mean, you'll be onboarded on the Jobs for Lebanon platform as well, and you'll be connected to companies looking to hire, talent.
Okay, exactly. And then, oh, there you go. All right. I saw a comment that said we'll be reaching out. I thought it was a question. This is our time, guys. It was really, really very informative. Thank you all for joining. Can you inform us about the tuition? That last question. We'll take that last question. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so the tuition of the program is a bit less than $3,000, but we do have a scholarship program that for specific profiles. So if you'd like, just fill the form, and then when you have the interview, you can mention. We'll see based on your profile if you're a good fit for the scholarship program or not. So just go to ZAKA.ai. You'll find the AI certification. There's a form on the website. You can apply there. And if you have any questions, you can reach out. Also, we'll support you.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone. We've taken your information. And here, let me just screenshot this so I don't lose it. Again, thank you for joining. This was very informative. Christophe, thank you for doing this call.
My pleasure.
In this session, I can hear your baby in the background.
Yeah.
No, I know it's the time, Allah. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining. It really was a pleasure, very informative. This session has been recorded, so we will be posting it. And please definitely